Alright, so we've gone through all the theory of networks and how they work. We've gone through how to set up Wireshark. Now we're ready for the meat of it, right? We're ready for your very first packet capture. So, first thing we want to do before we even start with the program is we want to talk just a little bit about ethics. First thing you want to make sure of is that you actually have permission to sniff the network that you're on. There's a lot of sensitive information on networks, and by using Wireshark to sniff them, it could be construed as malicious hacking or you having malicious intent upon whoever owns the network. So make sure first and foremost you get permission. If it's your home network, no big deal, right? It's your network. If you are doing this for your job in a corporate setting, you want to make sure that networking and system administration is in your job description. Make sure you ask for the proper permissions to use this program and treat it with the respect it deserves. So first thing, now that we've gone over that, let's talk about Wireshark. Let's talk about the interface here. First thing we want to show you is Edit Preferences, and we bring up this window here, and I want to go to the capture setting. Now here's some preferences as far as capture is concerned. You can set a default interface. If this is an interface that you're going to be using every time, all the time, you can go ahead and set that. You can look at some of the other interfaces here. So right, you've got this. You can set a default buffer size. Here's our option for promiscuous mode we talked about, and if this is an interface that you don't want to use, perhaps this is you have several VMs and you've got some of those virtual interfaces, you don't want them anymore. You can hit the hide interface button here. Couple of options here, right? You want to capture packets in promiscuous mode, and we talked about that in the previous lecture, what promiscuous mode is. You want to capture packets in PCAP-NG format, and what this means is that it is more compatible with other programs, and we're going to go over in kind of future lectures about how to take the PCAP and the file capture that you have and use it in other programs. So you want to make sure that's checked. Update lists of packets in real time. It's kind of fun to watch the packets come in real time, and you'll see that here once we get started. And then auto scrolling of the live capture also helps with that as well. And yeah, so that's the interface. So we'll hit apply, and we'll hit OK. Alright, so now let's take a look here. This is our capture interface. There's a couple ways to get to the capture. First is by clicking this interface list here, and you see all the lists of the interfaces, and you can see if they've got IPs assigned to them. And here we are, live. This is my Wi-Fi interface, and it's capturing packets from my network. So you can do that. You can also go to the capture and click on interfaces and get to the same window. We'll talk about some capture options here. So if you just hit go, it's going to take the defaults, which in most situations are probably fine. But let's look at a few things. You can click this right here, capture on all interfaces. So if you got this hooked up to multiple networks, or say, we talked about a tap that has incoming and outgoing streams. So if you needed two NICs to capture from the network here in question, you would want to capture on all interfaces. We're going to talk about capture filters in a previous in a future lecture, so we're not going to talk about it here. You can set where to save it. You can say use multiple files, and this is helpful if you plan on doing this for a extended period of time. So you may want to set it every 100 megabytes new file, or minutes or whatnot. You can tell it to stop the capture automatically, so if you need to start a capture and then move away and go do something else, you can say stop it after 5 minutes. And then these are some of the same things that we've seen in the other options that we looked at earlier. So those are our capture options. I'm going to say not use multiple files. We're just going to do a standard capture here. So we'll click on interface list. We've checked my wireless, and we'll click start. And as you can see now, you've got live packets coming into the network. Thing I want to note down here, right, is packets coming in, packets displayed. So you can see live how many packets we're getting. And when you are finished, you can just hit the stop button, and there you go. I captured in the span of a couple of, about 30 seconds or so, I captured 235 packets. And actually it was only 21 seconds if you look at the very last packet that we captured here. It was 21 seconds from the very beginning of the packet capture. So there you go. There's your very first packet capture. What we'll do in future lectures, we'll talk about how to filter and what to do with this data. But for now, that's the end of this lecture.